And you know what time it is? It's time for KP's Video News. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all. Right. That's right, folks. It's time for KP's Video News. I'm going to bring you the news, and I hope I ain't going to bring you the blues. That's right, folks. It's KP's Video News, and I'll try to bring you the news that you very rarely see, and a lot of this stuff you may or may not see on TV, but most of the time they don't show it on TV. So that's why I'm bringing it to you. And this story here, this was like a few days back. Actually, this story was from just a couple of days ago. Matter of fact, they had a LAPD cop admit that he did not know who he was called to arrest. So he settled for the nearest black man. And LAPD tried its best to keep officer body cam footage showing cops arresting a black Hollywood music producer out of the public's eye, and for good reason. Neither Antoine Austin nor his girlfriend, Michelle, is the white man officers were called to Hollywood to arrest in the domestic violence incident in question on, this was in question, actually it was from last year. That the incident happened in May 24th, 2019, but this video just got out a couple of days ago. Yet the video shows officers admitting they did not know what they were doing, then violently arresting Austin and Michelle. Austin, also known as Tone Stacks, the record producer, was arrested on allegation of resisting arrest. The city argued the release of the body cam footage would be contrary to LAPD policy and may have a chilling effect on future LAPD investigations, but a federal judge required the release of the film on Friday as part of the civil rights lawsuit Austin and his girlfriend launched against the city and 10 of its police officers. They literally saw the first black man and they arrested him. Gill, Attorney Gill, who is representing both Austin and Michelle, accused the city of unlawful seizure, excessive force, failure to intervene, 2 counts of battery, 2 counts of negligence in the lawsuit. He also alleged in the suit that Austin's race was a substantial motivating reason for the city's discrimination and that the defendants intended to deprive Austin of his enjoyment of the interest protecting the right to be free of such conduct. And his attorney wrote in the lawsuit that at one point in the encounter, Katrina Richardson, the woman who called the police to report a restraining order violation on her ex-boyfriend, came outside and explained to the officers that Austin was not the perpetrator, but the police continued to apply force against Mr. Austin. The officers involved in the incident haven't been identified publicly or in the lawsuit. They are referred to as those in the lawsuit. The video starts with officers admitting they weren't sure Austin was the man accused of domestic violence by the producer's neighbor. This dude, one of the officers asked as the car passed Austin. Probably, another cop responded. When officers got out of the car, Austin could be seen taking out the trash. Turn around for me, one of the cops told him. When Austin asked why, the officer responded, because I told you to. Despite the producer's explanation of that he lived there and that officer's further admission that I don't know who I'm looking for, Austin stated that he was thrown against the wall in an arrest that left both he and his girlfriend bloody. Michelle was initially inside when officers arrived, but came outside in a robe to ask officers why they were handcuffing Austin, according to the lawsuit. When one officer tried to place Mr. Austin in a chokehold, Michelle placed her hand on his hand and asked him to stop. An attorney stated in the lawsuit, in response, the officer pushed Michelle into the middle of the street, disrobing her. More police then arrived on the scene, tackling Mr. Austin and twisting his arms in painful positions. Michelle could be heard in the video saying, "I just got tackled to the ground." Austin screamed her name and yelled for help in the footage. "I just want justice served," he later stated. And so they had a video, but obviously I can't show that video. But the Gill stated, and his attorney stated that during the incident on around 3 p.m., LAPD officers continuously assaulted and placed Mr. Austin in severe apprehension of fear of bodily harm to himself and his girlfriend, and assaulted his Michelle and placed her in a severe apprehension for her safety of her boyfriend, while subjecting Michelle to severe emotional distress by assaulting her loved one and disrobing her, leaving her naked in public broad daylight. The police then transported Austin and Michelle to the Hollywood police station, where they were placed in a holding cell, while officers left Mr. Austin bleeding and subjected them to mistreatment and ridicule, laughing at their expense while they were reviewing body camera footage of the incident. So Mr. Austin and Michelle were subjected to hours of imprisonment until they were finally released on bail around 3 a.m. the next morning. So Gill is seeking at least $2 million in compensation for the incident that they went through. And it's like, he wasn't even the guy. Matter of fact, the guy that they called, the girlfriend called on, was a white guy that was the next door neighbor. They was actually at the wrong house in the first place. This guy's taking his trash out. There's a black guy over there. He must have did it. So now they're getting sued. Okay. This story is disturbing. Black people are going missing in vast numbers, but campaigners say their cases are being ignored. Black people are 4 times more likely to be reported as missing, and the campaigners demand that the disparity is addressed. And this story actually is coming from England. However, this same story can be applied to the United States as well, because as black people continue to go missing in disproportionate numbers, the government, people say that the government must do more to address the reasons, and that their relatives must stop being treated as merely a nuisance. According to recent data from the National Crime Agency, black people accounted for 14% of the missing people in England between 2019 and 2020, over 4 times the relative population. Though the agency does not currently have a breakdown of missing people by age, data shows that more black men, 13%, went missing, and more black women, 10%. In London between 2019 and 2020, black people accounted for 36% of missing people, twice the population of the city. And it's wow. No life is worth more than the other, and black and ethnic minorities. Parents feel that their sons' lives aren't valued the same. In recent weeks, 2 disappearances have gained fuel concerns that missing cases are taken less seriously than those of white people. And when Sarah Everett went missing at the beginning of March, having disappeared during a walk home, there was an outcry. Police issued appeals immediately, and a widespread search was ensued. However, normally they don't get that. When her body was found a week later at a Metro police officer charged. Wow. And a Metro police officer was charged with the murder. A vigil stated on Chapman Common was attended, and wow, at this point, the matter was commented on by the Home Secretary and the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. Man. However, campaigners have argued that the response to black people going missing is handled very, very differently. Wow, this lady came up missing. Turns out she had got killed by a cop. Telling you, man, stuff like this goes on, folks. Gotta be aware. You have to keep your eyes open. And this is another story. This is a graphic bystander video. Shows that a California police officer shot a mentally impaired black man in the face. This was 5 days ago. Said a new bystander video shows a California police officer shooting a mentally disabled black man in the face last month when less than lethal force was an option. A wrongful death lawsuit released Tuesday claimed. The video shows Officer Andrew Hall firing his weapon at Tyrell Wilson shortly before noon on March 11th near a public parking lot used by carpoolers in the Bay Area town of Danville, about 25 miles east of San Francisco. And a graphic recording was shot by an unidentified witness from a nearby vehicle, Wilson family lawyer stated. The bystander verbalizes his stunned reaction in the independent video that gives new context to the interaction. Last month, authorities released only a single still image from Hall's body camera showing Wilson with the knife, the lawsuit says. The image published shows Wilson with a small black folding knife with a silver blade in his right hand down on his right side. The video, meanwhile, shows Wilson was not threatening anyone and was walking away from Hall as the officer pursued him through the parking lot, the lawsuit states. This was a situation that could have easily been diffused by exercising reasonable de-escalation tactics. The lawsuit stated and is due to be filed in federal court. Hall's conduct in shooting Mr. Wilson in the face was one-time reflected deliberation, targeted aiming, and a conscious decision to not resort to reasonable, less intrusive alternatives from de-escalation tactics to the use of reasonable, less than lethal force. Danville spokesman said Tuesday he was not authorized to comment on the lawsuit and referred to Contra Costa County Sheriff's Office, which provides policing to the town under the contract. The sheriff's spokesman did not immediately respond to a request for comment. And Wilson died on March 17th, nearly a week after the shooting. Hall, a law enforcement officer for 7.5 years, was placed on paid administrative leave pending an investigation of the incident. According to Burr's law firm, Wilson was homeless and mentally impaired with schizophrenia. He was confronted from behind by Officer Hall while minding his own business. Hall was responding to calls regarding a man allegedly throwing rocks. And so the officer approached him and advanced toward the officer. The statement claimed Wilson advanced toward the officer who discharged his weapon, striking the subject once. Burr says the new cell phone video shows Wilson was trying to back away as Hall pointed a gun at his head. The video and witness accounts show this was cold-blooded murder, the attorney stated, who previously represented Rodney King, said that Wilson never had a chance. Wow, mentally disabled man shot and killed by a cop in the San Francisco area. And wow, man, it's a lot of crazy stuff going on here in the world today. And you know, I don't know, sometimes I get burnt out and I get a little discouraged by quite a few things that go on. And this situation here, this next story, it's a black opera composer that was fired over lyrics for this is a 100-year commemoration of the Tulsa Race Massacre. So sidebar, this year is the 100-year anniversary of the Tulsa Massacre, the Tulsa Race Massacre that happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and you know, where you had hundreds of black people were murdered and killed because black people had their own industrial area. They had their own financial area called nicknamed the Black Wall Street, and the white people in that area, for a few different reasons, went and basically killed and burned that whole entire neighborhood down with the assistance of the police, with the assistance of the army that was flying planes over the city, dropping incendiary bombs. And the incendiary bombs are bombs that burn. They don't explode, they just burn. And so they burned that whole entire area called the Black Wall Street. They burned it. But anyway, they had a composer that was writing a song for the commemoration, and so he ended up getting fired. He got fired, and it was supposed to be a celebration led by the Tulsa Opera to recognize both the 100-year anniversary of the Tulsa massacre. I'm sure now he's not sure why one lyric would be enough for him to lose his job. Unfortunately, it was. And he Romain composed and inspired song inspired by the horrific details of the massacre called "They Still Want to Kill Us," with two lines reading, "God bless America, God damn America." But when the soprano singer Dense Graves, who was set to perform the song, expressed concerns over those lines, the Tulsa Opera asked Romain if he would consider changing the lyrics. He said no. And now both Romain and his work are now no longer part of the celebration. And so his name is Daniel Romain. And so I was just asked to create a new work for them. I composed the words and the music for the new aria, and the last two lines are "God bless America, God damn America." They asked me to omit "damn," and I refused, and they fired me. And it's, he said it's life in black life in America. So in response to his tweet, the Tulsa Opera put out a statement in their website in an effort to shed more light on what actually led to his firing. And so they claim, what were they claiming now? Let's see. Okay, so they're trying to put the blame for them dismissing him on the singer. So the opera people didn't want him. They want him to change the words, and when he refused to change the words, their explanation was that they fired him because because the singer didn't want to sing it. But hey, it is what it is, man. It's like you can't tell the truth. You can't tell the truth if you're black, you can't tell the truth in this country. Because if you do, it's just they just dismiss everything you say as if you're a manic, aggressive, a monster, some kind of monster, demonic monster, because you speak up for your rights. And Romain stated that he would still attend the event in support of the other black creators who are part of the celebration, and is planning to develop "They Still Want to Kill Us" into a pocket opera and a short film. And he also created a website where folks can download the entire song for whatever fee they can afford, with a portion of the proceeds going toward black, indigenous, and people of color in the Tulsa area. So there you have it, folks. This is what's today's date? April 11th, and these are my stories for the day. And time for me to go and try to relax a little bit. Maybe eat a little lunch and try to enjoy this Sunday here. And that's KP Video News.
KP's Video News, y'all.
And it's a wrap.
It's time for what?
Peace.
KP's Video News.